Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for those who turned into part one, and for those just joining us as well. Welcome to But Why Those Let's Talks panel series. This one is focused on manga localization and practices. I'm Olive Sansevier. I also go by All of the Manga or All of the Manga Reader. You can find my work at But Why Though. And we are joined with the wonderful translators David Evelyn, Jenny McKeon, and Mercedez Clewis, who also works in quality assurance and editing on manga. And yeah, I'll let you each say a little intro about yourself and some projects maybe you're working on that you can talk about.
Well, since Jenny, you should probably start off.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Hi. I'm Jenny McKeon. I work on a lot of manga and light novels. Joe's Find the Spider, So What? New Game. I'm looking at my figures to remind myself. The Kino's Journey manga. A bunch of the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting just came out. Very hyped about that one.
Yes. Is that with Kaiden books or?
Yes.
Great.
They are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I've been stalking the shelves at Barnes and Noble looking for it.
I think I didn't realize you did New Game, and I had a moment just now.
I love New Game. I've got my my Oliver right here.
Oh my gosh, New Game's the best.
The last volume is coming out next month, or no, in September, but too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah. Mercedez.
So my name is Mercedez. I am a Japanese to English localization editor, proofreader, QA, and I'm also a writer for places like the Anime News Network, But Why Though, and Anime Feminist. I am perpetually tired.
Yeah.
Same.
I think that's just the millennial mood.
Yeah.
And let's think. I'm trying to think of projects I can talk about. I'm under so many NDAs.
So many DN angels.
So many DN angels. I'm under a lot of NDAs. I can vaguely talk around one. I recently got my first experience with a visual novel. It will come out this year. It is very good. Please buy it so I can have more work.
Just buy all the visual novels for the next year.
It's real good. It's real good. I snuck a lot of slang into it. I worked my heart into it. I love it. Yeah.
David?
Oh, hi. I'm David Evelyn. I'm from the internet, I guess. No, I'm a Japanese to English translator. I work on manga, visual novels, you name it, I've probably worked on it. Most people know me from Undead, Unluck, and Kaiju number 8 for Shonen Jump publication, digital publication. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm mainly here to shill those two because Kaiju number 8 is getting its first volume in December, and which is going to be a great Christmas treat. You know, buy it for stocking stuffers and whatnot. And Undead Unluck is getting its third volume out it's around this September. Volume 1 and 2 are out. So if you want to show support to that, please buy it and make me happy. You can even, if you buy it, you can even tag me on Twitter because I retweet the crap out of that. I am such a glutton for that. Like, I'm like, oh my god, like, you know, narcissist, right? So, but yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So the second half of our panel on localization is specifically now focusing on support and progress in the industry as a whole for localization. And so we're going to kind of kick that off with our first question, which is, what do you wish more people knew about localization?
Anybody want to start that off, or should I?
I mean, I'm gonna go in hard on a specific thing, so maybe not me. Start off.
Well, I mean, for me, I just kind of wish that it's the funny thing though, because it's like a Wizard of Oz situation. It's like you have to kind of be behind the curtains, and you can't show how much of the sausage is being made too much, right? But you can only. It's like stuff that if you knew behind the scenes, you would be like, oh, okay. But a lot of people just don't kind of understand that what we're doing is we're not. If you're using localized anime or manga to learn Japanese, that's cool, but that's not the purpose, right? We're trying to actually, for people who don't give two craps about learning Japanese or like just want to read something, right? There are people that are like that, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly normal, and that's perfectly fine. And if I'm going to cater to the to anybody, I think it'd just be those guys, right? Aside from it's like, well, this isn't exactly what it was, and I was like, well, yeah, because it's Japanese and this is English, and like if you don't like the English version, you can read the Japanese version. Well, I can't read Japanese, and it's like, well, you can learn it, whatever. Like, it's like an inconsequential little thing that has become kind of like everyone's big talking point of like, I just don't get why you can't just translate it literally. Because if we translated things literally, it would read like crap and people would be mad at us.
Right.
That's true. Like, localization isn't just for people who have already are huge nerds like us and have a relatively strong grasp of like culture and things like that. It's also for like the 13-year-old in Barnes and Noble who's just gonna like pick up a book that has a cute cover and maybe get super
or like
into manga.
someone's mom, right? Like oh,
Right.
I think Brandon would like this, and he picks up like a thing of Undead Unluck and sees Andy's schlong and then gives it to him and is like, all right, this is fine, whatever. But like it's just like it's all walks of life. It's not just
Right.
18 to 35-year-old person who is somewhat indoctrined into Japanese culture.
It's everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess David kind of opened the floodgates, so like now I can just like cruise on in. I wish more people, and perhaps this is aimed at online communities. I wish more online communities and more people in general understood that like we, the people doing this, are also fans. Like we love what we're doing. We would not be doing it. At least I can say for myself, I would not be doing this if I didn't like it. And I think sometimes going kind of hand in hand with like the person who's maybe into Japanese culture, has studied history, has a contextual understanding. When I edit and QA, I do it for readability for someone who does not have an understanding of like isekai or of shoujo tropes or of any kind of genre or demographic tropes. I'm editing and so that the widest audience possible can understand it. And sometimes that does mean that things like slang work their way in when it's applicable, that certain jargon might be left out because only a certain group of people is going to understand it. But we're all a mix of people who really love what we're doing. And I sometimes think you see the phrase like, oh, so-and-so's making a political, or oh, this is being made into a bigger thing. Japan is a country with politics, so it's not inserting things, it's trying to convey another country to you in the target language while also making it readable. So I wish people understood like the human beings doing this, we like it too. We're not trying to ruin anyone's fun time or yuck anyone's yum. It's just,
Yeah, that's pretty much a smarter version of what I was going to say. It's a labor of love. I feel like at just about every level, from translators to QA to editors and letterers and proofreaders. We're all, if we were doing it for the money, we would probably be in like technical or some other,
I would definitely be in another,
like any other
yeah.
profession. And also just to add that no one person in that that team, especially not the translator, gets to make all of the decisions. So like what you're seeing on the page or in the game or whatever wasn't one specific person necessarily who was like, I'm going to make this controversial or I'm going to do this wrong. Like it goes down a long line, and there's people who are involved in making the decisions, sometimes even on like the Japan side, who are like, no, you can't say it like that. Or no, the title has to be this like incomprehensible jumble of English that we just made up.
Right.
But you have to keep it or you can't have the series.
Exactly.
So, we love it. And also we're not necessarily making all the decisions ourselves.
Yeah.
Like a whole army of people behind each series release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of whom aren't even credited.
Yeah. Some,
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't credited.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't credited.
Yeah. I mean, if you do, I don't know if this is taken anywhere. If you do QA, you are often working behind the scenes. Like I am credited on some things, but a lot of stuff no one would know unless they looked at my portfolio.
Right. And that's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you guys are like I want to say like kind of the backbone of like a release coming out. Because if it weren't copy editors, if it weren't for QA, if it weren't for like people like that, these books would come out and they would be all kinds of effed up. Like it would just be like typos everywhere. Everything would be all messed up. There'd be commas everywhere where there shouldn't be. Like it'd be awful.
Mercedes, are you allowed to say what series you QA'd on, even if you don't have a credit in the back?
I can't. It just depends on my contracts.
Yeah.
I am very thankful that the American company I work for, I believe, would not have a problem if I said I did QA on this. In fact, I'm almost sure the American company that I work for would not mind at all. I will say I'm not often listed on websites, but like, I mean, there are ways certainly to talk around and say and hint that I did something. I've done that before, but most times I have been allowed to say, oh, I did this, or, oh, if you look in the book, you will see my name.
Right.
Yeah.
Which doesn't diminish your job at all.
Right. I if I was doing this job for the credit, once again, I wouldn't be doing it. I do, I mean, realistically, I do it because I love editing and I love proofreading, and it's fun.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are like that. Like I honestly, I did not even know that I would be credited for translating stuff when I started. I was just like, oh, you want credits? Okay, cool. Here's my name. I just, because I had a very weeby, like my Twitter handles from like the old times where I had like a net handle and like, it's the weebiest.
My email is also.
Yeah, I don't.
I am emailing whole ex professionals with the Japanese name that I picked when I was like 13.
Oh yeah, if you email me, you're gonna get a message from Tatsunobushi Hiroko, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna be like, how do you spell that? Is that with 2 T's? Like, oh god, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we didn't love what we were doing, we wouldn't be doing this because God knows it's not paying the bills for a lot. Like if you just take one job and you're not gonna get pay the bills off one job.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I mean, I recently got a high paying job and it was a one time, but like it was also 12 weeks of work with none of that money. Right. So yeah, it's not, none of us are in it to like become Jeff Bezos rich.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, and if I can even say, like, even the people that do go credited, like my editor for Undead, Unluck and Kaiju number 8, because it's the same person, she's a legend. It's Carla Clark. She is great. She is an amazing person, and half of the stuff that you think that I did is stuff that she did, and it's incredible. Like most of my, like, I love all my editors. Let me just be that guy. Like, I'll pimp all my editors. Like my editors are like the backbone of this great nation we call Dave, right? But like I can't like list off all of them because there's so many, and there's so many that work behind the scenes that I don't even know of, like, and you don't know who's putting in. It's a collaborative effort is what I'm saying. It's not just one person. I wish people knew that.
Great. Thank you. Our next question is just, how do you navigate social media with your projects? Because I know, at least with all three of you, you are on social media. Do you navigate it if you do?
Carefully, I would say.
Very, very, it especially for bigger projects, very vaguely. Like, I might say, oh, I'm frustrated with editing something, or I think there was a time earlier this year that I needed help with the sound effect for a body part, and like I could ask about that vaguely without saying what I was doing, and other people might get the context like, oh, I'm working on a project, but vaguely, for sure.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm not. I haven't been under an NDA in a while, actually. So I can talk about what I'm working on, and I generally do, especially if it's something that I'm like super enthusiastic about. I try to like talk it up and share it. You do have to be careful, like one, not to draw so much attention to yourself for one specific series that you could potentially draw the ire of fans of that series who aren't necessarily fans of your work. There have been instances of certain translators who were strongly associated with really popular series who got chased off of Twitter because people didn't like the very correct decisions that they made, or at least, you know, in my opinion, the perfectly valid decisions that they made, or didn't make. Like, that's a whole other thing. Also, I think a lot of people don't realize this, but we're generally, at least in my experience, kind of discouraged from talking directly to the authors on Twitter. Well, David, I've seen you seem to be able to, maybe that's more of a jump thing. I feel like you get to tag your creators. Am I making that up?
Oh, well, I have
like,
kind of, no, well, with circumstances, I don't really, well, I don't know about Undead. Matsumoto is on Twitter, and he followed me randomly. Right. Like, I was like, what?
Nice.
Yeah. And, like, for the Juniper collection anthology, I follow the guy who runs that in Japan randomly, and he followed me back, and we've just kind of talked. Like, so I don't really go out of my way to tag and follow authors unless they come to me. I don't do that. But apparently people want to follow me for some reason. I have no idea why. Like, have they seen my Twitter? Like, I don't, whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was like, what's the real word for tagging? I mentioned your name.
Oh.
But in some cases, I've actually been directly told, like, no, do not tag the author, because you either don't want to, again, send an angry mob toward the author of English fans, or you don't want the author's, whoever is maybe running the author's account, if it's like a PR account, to be like, hey, your translator, like, said something to our author, like, what's up with that? It probably wouldn't be a problem, but I try to, unless they contact me first, like I'm in touch a little bit with an artist for something that I work on, who again just like happened to follow me back, but I don't, you know, I don't want to cause trouble just because we're technically freelancers, and I feel like allowed to do whatever doesn't necessarily mean you should do whatever.
Just like you're not under an NDA half the time, but you still don't talk about stuff unless it's like you know. For me, how do I social media with my projects? If I don't see anything out and they don't say anything from the official like channels, I don't say anything. I just say, you know, done with work, amigos, gonna go get drunk, whatever. I don't know, but like I just say when it's safe to say. Like there was an incident where Undead Unluck Volume 2 came out 2 weeks early in some places for Barnes and Noble, and I didn't, like, people were tagging me and like, oh, I got it. Like, oh, okay, I don't think I should say anything about that, because it's kind of, you got it like before the street date, and everyone else is like, you know, I don't want to do that. Or like with the Juniper stuff, that also came out 2 weeks early, and people were,
you're like, cool, I didn't get my copy yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I probably wasn't supposed to get to. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Never happened.
Right.
But like with social media, if I'm very good at keeping secrets, so if I'm not allowed, or if I shouldn't say something, I will not say it. And if I can, I will. With social media in general, I just sort of like, I play it by ear. Like, if new chapter of Undead comes out, hey amigos, Andy's got his schlong out, and you know, it's whatever. Kaiju's out.
A recurring plot point.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a current play. It was sometimes. But yeah, and then, I also post in Japanese because I apparently have a Japanese following for some reason. So I just post in Japanese along with that. I don't know. Japanese fans seem to like it. They put me on Pixiv Dictionary, which is weird.
Wow.
Like the official translator for Undead.
I
Like, what?
should do that more.
What
Oh
the
my
hell is this?
Fancy.
But yeah, I just play it by ear, and I don't step on anyone's toes, and generally try to keep myself friendly and open. Unless you're an asshole, I don't like doing that.
Out of curiosity.
I was gonna say the only hard balance for me personally is because I also write publicly, so I have to like promo everything I write constantly, but I also have to make that very separate from
your work.
my other work. And it's at first it was very hard not to get that crossed because I was doing both, but now it's just kind of a, this is writing Mercedes, this is localization Mercedes. They have to kind of stay separate. So, I get to keep doing the work I'm doing.
And never the twins shall meet kind of thing.
Exactly.
Don't cross
our next question is, if you don't mind us moving forward a little, is just how can fans support localization team members?
Don't be mean.
I would, don't be mean. Please be nice to us.
Yeah,
we're very sensitive. It does actually kind of tie into the previous question because, of course, there are people who are extremely rude on Twitter to people who they think are responsible for translation choices they didn't like. But there are also people who will seek you out and be like, hey, I just read this volume and it was great. And like this chapter made me cry and thank you so much. And that completely makes my day because for the most part, we're just alone in an office, like translating something and we send it off in an email. And then months later, some unknown amount of time later, it comes out and you're like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
So when people actually like take the time to look you up and tell you that they like your work, like that means a lot to me. Or if you tell the publishers that you liked our work, also cool.
It's kind of like when you read fan fiction on Archive of Our Own and you can like leave a kudo or a comment, like those little tidbits, those feel good. Like the first, I still clearly remember the first time someone told me like they like something I did. Like it will stay with you because it's just nice to know that you're not just tossing it into the void.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But definitely don't be mean. Don't, please.
Number
we
one.
We have but a few years on this mortal coil. Please don't be mean.
I just don't like when random people, like you're a random person, me to you and you to me, right? Why would you just be openly hostile to someone you don't even know? Like, I generally try to keep myself very positive and forward thinking, and I try to make people laugh because I like when people laugh because it means that they're at ease and they like to enjoy things. So why would you come to me and be like, this sucks, I don't understand, hey, what's wrong with this, why didn't you? And I'm like, bro, just calm down. Like we don't need all that.
Yeah.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
I would also just add that if there is something that if you do notice something that you're like, well, this is a mistake, like it's cool to just politely reach out either to the translator or directly to the publisher and be like, hey, I think maybe this was not right, and they might like want to fix it for future printings or whatever.
I mean,
just don't be mean about it.
Don't be mean about it, and just like don't okay, the worst thing you can do is publicly and be like, I found a typo. It's just like my DMs are open. I read them sometimes. Most of the times I don't, because it's just a bunch of like really weird stuff. But just like if you find a typo, hey, I think there's a typo and blah blah blah. I've actually had people do that and it's been very helpful. Just be sensible about it, use your brain about it. Just don't think that we're amigos and you can just kind of come in and be like, hey, what's good, that you messed up here, and it's like, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's 5:00 in the morning.
Just take the appropriate channels for stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you really want to publicly at somebody, at the publisher, you can at me. But I'm probably, I can't do anything about it. Like, what am I going to do about it?
This is also true, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell people, but...
Well, and I think, too, and I guess that in a weird way that kind of connects to the first question. Like a lot of us do not work in house. Like a lot of us don't work.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Look, it is me, a Lenovo, and a computer chair from Big Lots. Like it is.
Yeah, mine's from Staples.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's true. Even if you do send me an error, then I am just going to decide whether to forward it to my editor and be like, well, looks like I screwed up.
Yeah.
Or not do that. I usually do. If I see the message at least. But
yeah. So the best thing you can do to support us is be nice,
Yeah.
be courteous. Don't add us for really weird, random, crappy things.
Yeah.
And, you know, just be respectful and know, like, you know, there's a barrier that you can do. Like, you don't have to support us financially because we're doing that on our own. Like, some people are not, you know, they're artists or they're writers and they have Patreons or whatever, and they also do this on the side. You can support them that way if they feel so inclined. But like, you know, just
that's true. Yeah.
You know, and I do appreciate like the fans that come out and say like, oh, I love your work, or you know, you liked my post and it really made my day, and you know, like you know, it's gotten me through rough patches and it was the most beautiful thing. Like, you know, that stuff really it helps. You know, a bleak day can be instantly brightened by having one fan letter or one fan interaction that's positive.
It really is so often the rule of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Because that will stick with somebody forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, we're all fans.
Yeah.
Of whatever series is being worked on.
Goodness knows I am out here in 2021 standing Tokyo Mew Mew like it just came out yesterday. I'm not doing that because I'm getting that sweet Mew Mew money. Doing that because I like it. You know? Yeah, we're all fans. We all like it.
Fans.
So through that then, what is something you'd like to see develop in the localization industry going forward? And if there is something specific, is there a way fans can somehow help with that?
Can we be honest?
I don't, whatever you're comfortable with.
I would like to see a world where there is less contract for work for hire work and more support of remote work where we get benefits. I would really like to see that because I think that was one of the hardest things to adjust to when I started freelancing was I'm trying to speak delicately about it, but I do think it's a really important thing that a lot of people don't realize, like, is a lot of it is contract, a lot of it's work for hire, and that can be very difficult when the contract is there, but there's no work. And I would like to see a different system. And I know I don't want to lay it at anyone's feet because there's a wider systemic issue that causes this in a lot of fields. But it would be nice to see a system where there's more, you're remote, you're working for us, and maybe there's a little bit of support. A little bit of support in terms of that. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of really good people who will check on you and make sure you're doing okay. But it would certainly be nice to have the company itself create a system that kind of is a little bit more amenable to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the
felt
biggest
so
thing
nervous
is...
saying that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that question to put anyone in a spot.
No, absolutely. Like I'm able to do this full time, but it's partly because, you know, I live in a relatively inexpensive area. I have a spouse who I get benefits through, and not everyone is that lucky. And I would love for it to be more possible for more people to do what they love. Yeah. I mean, just in general, but also in this industry. And also for people who do work in-house to not have to live in New York City. But that's, I mean, I won't, so it's fine. My less obvious thing that I would like to see more of that I've started to get spoiled with is more communication between people on the same localization team. Since I started working with Kaiden on Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, I helped pick the editor The editor is my friend. My friend David Musta. He's great. And then and I helped pick the QA. Actually, is that insane? Am I allowed to say that? Well, it was just like, I got put on as the translator, and then we sort of discussed the team together, and now the team all talks to each other and goes, hey, did you mean this by this line or this? And that is like insane. That like doesn't happen. Usually you send in the script, you get the book, and either you see that something changed for the better or maybe changed for the worse, not through anyone's fault, just like lack of communication. It's, it's kind of a game of telephone where they'll be like, oh, this line probably is supposed to mean this. And then the next person is like, oh, this line probably means something a little more like this. And then by the end, it doesn't mean the same thing at all. So that is what I would love to see it become standard, that like translators and editors and QA all like talk to each other. And I just like knowing who I'm working with.
I mimic both of their statements. And especially like the communication part, like I'm a very big proponent of communicating with people that you're working with on your team, because a lot of the times, like Jenny said, it'll just be a big game of telephone, and then you'll be like, he went to the store, and then by the end of it, Godzilla attacked the city. It's like, huh? How'd this happen? So that's why, like, when I work, I put like a crap ton of notes in my script, so even if you are like without a doubt like the most bare, like at the very bottom of the barrel, like reading comprehension, you can like read it and be like, oh, okay, and then it won't get that way. But I feel like in the manga industry, like this is more common in the games industry and stuff like that, and especially when you're dealing with indie creators, you get to interact with the creators. Like I've worked on games where I just talk to the creator and be like, hey, did you mean this by this? Is this a typo?
God, I wish.
Well,
yeah, I want that too.
It doesn't really happen. Yeah, I know. I would love to have it, and Kaiden is like that too.
I wouldn't give to just be able to be like, what is this character's gender or lack thereof supposed to be?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then you have to play like gender lottery, and then just kind of like the roulette wheel.
Yeah, my friends and I call it the gender reveal party, where you're you spend the whole book sort of using like they them or like dancing around pronouns because you're not sure, and then you find out at the end. Happened with a cat once, and then you have to go back to the beginning of the book and change all the pronouns.
All of it. Yeah, that happens a lot because Japanese is a language where you can do that, and it's very
don't have
easy.
to specify gender or amount.
Nope, you don't. Yeah,
we talked about this last time too, but I'll never not be mad.
Oh my god, I hate it.
Tell me how many rats there are. This isn't really a localization problem. It's more like, please, I don't know.
It kind of is, because like if you wanted to know, like I had that problem with a game that I was working on, and I asked the guy, I was like, hey, did you mean flowers here or flower? And he got back to me and he was like, oh, flower, just one. And I was like, okay. And then that was the end of the interaction. I wish I could just go.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Hey there, Matsumoto-sensei. Like I could.
I want to go to
but
there.
Then like I would feel bad about that because I'd be going over people's heads, but I wouldn't do that.
But that would be something nice, because like I very rarely know who I'm editing or who I'm QAing. Like I have no clue most of the time.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'll find out when it gets released, I guess.
Assuming everyone is credited, which goes back to that, which is of course another thing that I think we all want to see.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a nebulous human being.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd think you'd want to know your teammates. It would help streamline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then is there kind of a way for fans to help with that at all? I know that's probably a hard question, other than just supporting when they can.
Buy our stuff.
Yeah. Support the things that do seem to have a sense of unity, like the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, Volume 1, available in print now. Or I guess social media is a good way to reach out to publishers and be like, hey, I would love to know who edited this. Or
I was gonna say, there is power in like using your voice politely to like tell publishers, like, we want to know who did this. We want to see more of XYZ translator or editor. Like we want to know. I mean, if you ask to name people. If enough people ask, like, they are going to have to cave.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's just if there's enough pressure. And I think that's part of it, is that I don't know if there is enough curiosity publicly aimed in the right way at publishers to tell them, like, hey, maybe this is something we should do. I think it's changing.
It's
Yeah.
changing for sure.
But I think and I mean no harm when I say this. I think it'll be a long time before I see my name as a QA. I think I'm definitely at the bottom of that list, and that's all right. That's not a problem. There are other people I want to see uplifted ahead of me. But I think that maybe, like, politely talking to publishers and saying, hey, we would love to know who worked on this.
Yeah.
That's kind of the start.
What's
I
the
mean,
credit?
And for reviewers and stuff too.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I've seen that on Twitter before, where there's a lot of review sites that have started to credit at least the translators because
Right.
people asked for it, and then it's like, well, what about letterers? What about the QA?
We have
Well, hopefully we'll get there.
we have manga legend Brandon Bovia in the chat.
Oh my God, we do.
Brandon!
Sorry. I'm
he's,
supposed to be professional, not fangirl about that. I love your work on Snow White.
Hi, Brandon.
He's,
Oh my God. Hi,
BJ
Brandon.
the legend. But
God,
yeah,
the king.
the king, dude. Like, so yeah, like he's a very there was an incident where they actually did not credit him in a review. I remember this. And they credited him in the book, but they didn't credit him on the website. It was a big kerfuffle. I remember that. But if they're in the book,
I do actually also remember that.
You remember that, right? Yeah, you should. If you're in the book, you should be listed. Anything else, you can go the extra mile for. But the thing is about, like, this industry is that we try to make it all seem seamless, right?
Yeah.
It's like, the magician's prestige. We're trying to make sure that you don't understand, you don't see the riffs, right? Like, we want to make sure that everything is nice and neat. So when, like, who did the QA on this? You're kind of pulling back the curtain and, like, Jimmy's exposed, so it's very hard to get that balancing act, because a lot of people just think, like, oh my God, this is amazing, you just magic the translation on the page. Like, I've actually gotten people who are just like, oh wow, you do so what do? You put the letters on the page into English, you typewrite it on the page, and it's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to go through the entire process of how this works.
There's a whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's sort of like, how do you work at a car factory? Do you make the cars yourself? Like, it's that kind of logic where people are just don't know. And, like, they don't really need to know, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
They don't need to know. It would be nice if they were a little bit more informed on how certain things work. But the thing is, like, every company is different. Every company works in a separate way to one another. There's not two Japanese to English localization companies that work exactly the same, unless they were like,
or have the same script format.
Oh my God, I've gone through at least 7. There's all sorts of script formats. I've had 3 script formats for the same company. Can you imagine that?
That is insane.
But yeah, like, it's all different, and it's just a matter of whether or not you want to learn about it. Just reach out and be like, hey, I was curious about how this works.
Right.
It's like, most of us are more than willing to explain how this works, except me.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. But, like, when people come to, like, other people who are very, like, informative, like the legend Brandon, or you
just
get
the king,
Sarah Lindsley. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many people out there that are willing to impart information when you ask nicely.
I'm even gonna hype up Jenny, who, like, has been a fantastic person to me.
Jenny has been amazing. I'm not crap, but like, Jenny's been great.
Well, I even think there's something you said. I think it was Mercedes mentioned, just the emailing through the right channels and asking, because even there's been, I won't name names, but there's been a few times publishers as a reviewer have sent me the digital review copies, left out that credits page on the back. And you just and they'll send you all the info as soon as you email them and be like, hey, I'd like to know this.
Right.
I think, in a weird way, honestly, the simplest solution is just ask. Yeah, it's
that's all it boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see reviewers do that sometimes. I feel like that's a good time to publicly at someone on Twitter, mostly because you're tagging a publisher, not a lone individual, and be like,
Right.
hey, maybe could you tell me who did this? And then everyone gets to know.
Yeah.
Unless they don't want to be known, I guess.
Right.
That too.
Kind of going off of that then, our next question, are there any new developments in localization in the last few years that are exciting you?
Yeah.
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 Whoever wants to go first can go first.
Mercedes, you want to go?
Well, see, I was gonna yield it to you all because I've only been in it for such a short time.
Well, this is all new to you, so.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the one thing that I was really pleasantly surprised by was, I guess to make it personal, that there were people that looked like me doing this. I think my assumption when I first thought about doing translation and localization was that I would kind of be one of a few for a lot of reasons. And what I kind of quickly discovered was like there's a lot of different people from different walks of lives and different levels of understanding and skill who are doing it. It's not just, it's not like back in the 1980s and 90s where it was like a middle-aged white guy. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of really different, very unique, really creative people doing really amazing work, and it's very inspiring. And it made it easy for me to say, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I want to do, because maybe, I don't know, maybe some teenager needs to see someone also doing it so they understand that it's a very sprawling field. I think that's what really encouraged me to stick with it last year, especially when I was really nervous about my skills. Was I was like, well, there's a lot of different people from different places and different skill levels and different backgrounds doing it, and maybe they were where I once was, so like if they did it, I can kind of do it too. And here we are today. I'm kind of doing it.
Hey, you are doing it. Don't sell yourself too
Yeah.
short.
Yeah, you are.
You're doing it.
You're doing the work.
Yeah.
I'm excited that you're here.
Oh, and I certainly still have a lot to learn. Like, if you had told 2020 Mercedes, like, I would have done a visual novel this early on, I don't know if I would have believed that, but like, that was also I guess, and I suppose that is also something else I learned was like, there's a huge community online of people who are very willing to help, with the caveat that like, you don't come in trying to show them up. And not that other people don't have different skill levels, but like, when I started this, I really had to approach it with like, I don't know anything. There are other people I need to learn from and that I want to learn from. And I think like, once I, doing that helped me become part of this really amazing community, especially on Twitter, of people who just love what they're doing. And I think that's really great that like social media has allowed that.
That is definitely one of the things I would say that I'm excited about, that there's a community, a localization community, and it's growing. And even when I first got into it, there were definitely a handful of people who helped me out. And now there's even more people who are willing to help and who are just, making these super informative threads, and there's like Discords and all this great stuff. And somewhat related in about what we were talking about earlier, like, there is more communication within teams, even since I started about 5 years ago. It's, I started either having the occasional email exchange about like, what should we do about this particularly difficult thing, or like, maybe we'll message back and forth even a little bit. It's changing, and there's a lot of exciting new publishers like Kaiden, also like Glacier Bay, Darkroot, and a bunch of others, which is exciting in itself, because the more publishers we get, the more wide range of things we get to see, the more wide range of licenses, the more Yuri. I mean, what?
God, please. I thirst.
That's my other exciting thing.
Me.
So much.
Thirst.
I mean, you mentioned Kaiden, and that's something that stood out to me when Kaiden launched was, I know every publisher's license contract is different and I'm not privy to them, but the fact that Kaiden's putting like localization team credits on covers is so cool to see.
Yep, that is big.
That I didn't have to ask even. They were like, do you want the front or the back cover? And I was like, the what?
Don't you mean the first page? And they're like, no.
Do you mean the second to last page or the third from first page? Which is, also fine, but it is very exciting in that way.
For me, I mean, like I've been in the localization industry for a few years at this point. And even from when I started, like I technically started with visual novels, like officially. Like even that's like kind of changed, and like people have come and gone, and things have evolved and some things have devolved, but I'm glad that we're in an era where digital can become a little bit more viable. Like if you told me that Shonen Jump would be available the same day at the same time in Japan, I would tell you you're a crazy person. For $2, not even that. You can just read it, the chapter for free.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Most free recent are free.
You can read them for free, and I'd be like, you're absolutely out of your mind.
We're living in a wonderful time.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like a manga fever dream some days when I'm like,
and like hey you, I too don't like supporting Big River Company, but comics, you have to admit that Comixology is great. That's also a really great thing.
There are so many great resources for digital manga nowadays that I feel like it's the thing that I wanted 10 years ago that is now becoming a reality in like some way, shape, or form. Granted, not everything I want, my selfish desires are not being manifested as we speak. But like, if it was up to me, most manga publishers would be out of business because like, why are you publishing things that are 50 years old? Like, shut up. Let me just have this. All right. I really want this. I want Chojin Roku to be here in English, and want City Hunter and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not going to get all that stuff because, it's not going to sell and you have to play to the market. Right. I know that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you mentioned digital, and it just makes me think, even compared to like pre-2010 and now, the amount of manga series in libraries now, partly because of digital access.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's insane.
Which, by the way, is another free way that you can support localization is reading stuff at libraries. Ask your libraries to carry the series that you want to see. And if you do buy manga, from what I gather, especially buying past volume 1 of a series, which is a habit I'm guilty of also, but the more people buy later volumes of a series, the more likely it is that you'll see more of that series faster, is the impression I get.
And, buying digital first also helps. I know a lot of people are like, but I want the physical. And it's like,
double dip, baby, double dip.
Double dip. I mean, like,
buy that digital to get that
physical. I mean, like, I look at it like this. If you can pay for a Wendy's, like, triple meal or whatever, or something, junk food.
Oh, I want a Frosty.
Yeah, like, like.
Sorry,
thanks, David.
Said that out loud.
Oops. But if you can indulge, Oh, are we already over there?
It's fine. I got very excited about the Wendy's Frosty.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? I just bumped my light. Keep going.
What the Wendy's Frosty? But no, like if you can indulge, right? Indulge. I'm a big proponent of indulging in your interests if you like them and you want to support them. Yeah. And manga is probably like kind of the cheapest thing you can probably like indulge in, because most volumes go from anywhere to, let's say, about 8 to the highest I think I've seen is about 17.
Yeah, I was gonna say A Bride Story is rocking that $17.99 price tag.
But it's so
There's
pretty.
definitely still a part of me that's like, back in my day, I paid $10
and I'll say, like, it might seem expensive compared to the paper quality is so much better, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had paper that my Tokyo Pop volumes from
toilet paper, dude.
I mean, just shredding apart. Now we got like some archival grade.
I know. And I
Matte
think you mentioned
covers.
price too, and people forget just how much of a team is behind bringing this over beyond just the original creative team in Japan.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
I feel like and also I just wanted to say that to touch upon Mercedes' point, you know, when I started this, I didn't really have like there wasn't much of a localization. Like a lot of localizers just tried to keep to themselves, except for like Steiner, who was like posting like memes and all sorts of crap about him like falling down the
Shout out
stairs and
to
whatnot.
Steiner.
Shout outs to Steiner, who also
A
works
braver
at
man
Kaiden
than all
Books.
of us.
Yeah, he works
For
at Kaiden
real.
Books
That
too, and
fucking
I'm
curious cat.
surprised he's not dead yet.
Excuse
But because he's so unlucky.
For many reasons.
Oh goodness.
We love you, Steiner.
But yeah, like at that time it was very scant, and you know, like I'm very glad to see people who are coming up, and you know, like I've been around the block, and you know, people, I don't know, like some people have said like, oh man, you're like a mentor to people. I'm like, am I really? I don't understand that. I don't try to take on a mentoral kind of view, but like you know, I do know a lot about Japanese stuff and Japanese culture and Japanese language, especially language. I can very much like walk you through like things that have to do with Japanese if you have Japanese knowledge. So I will help out people if they need help. But like, go ahead.
I would certainly say like your presence is very mentoring online. Like I'll say that for myself.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, like I try to be at least a little bit inviting because it can be hard, and I
Yeah.
know that people can get discouraged, and it can be it can break you. So
I will say for both of you, it makes the world feel a lot less lonely seeing people like you doing what you're doing. Also, David, you always have good food pics. That's also why I followed you. You posted some ramen one day and I was like, click.
Yeah. I am quite fat. Yeah.
The food game.
Post that up and I'm like, oh, I'm just a chub. No, but yeah, no, I'm glad that you guys I'm glad that, you know, the both of you found your zen online. And I'm glad that a lot of young up and coming localizers are around, and I'm glad a lot more, you know, I'll say it, black folk are around, because it's awesome. Like Kaiju number 8 is got all black main like localization staff.
God
so,
bless his team.
You know, like me, Brandon, and our editor Carla, those are the 3 main core staff, and we're all black, and it's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much. We've got about 15 minutes max left, so we're going to hit the Q&A portion.
We got more. Do we got questions?
We got more questions from chat. We've got some great questions in. So specifically, this is questions from reviewers, myself included. So with reviews for manga volumes, how often is it that the English team is left off of credits? And should reviewers include more than just the translator and letterer? Because we're often giving conflicting info just from PR.
I feel like, well, you know, like if you can go the extra mile to find out the people who aren't credited in the book proper, you can. And I feel like the people who are behind the scenes, because it's like it depends on what company it is too. It's like, is there a copy desk, is a copy editor, like what are like the inner workings of this company, like who should be credited for what, you know? But I do feel like if you are in the book, you should at least get, you know, a mention on the review website for sure. Like that's just the default by this point. You know, there's an author and there's the people that brought it over. So put the people that are in the book on the website. That's what I feel like.
It would help if they were on the publisher website also.
That too. If they were on the publisher's website.
But at least a lot of reviewers are doing that work, and I think we all appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great. This is a fun one. I'm excited to hear y'all's answers for this. What is your favorite sound to translate?
I actually have a thing. Well, you guys work out what is appropriate. I have a stupid thing that I'm trying to make a thing. Sometimes when someone gives a thumbs up, it'll go like "do," like sort of like good, like good job. And at least once I have gone with "sup," like
I
a
love
thumbs
that.
up.
I love that.
So
That's great.
spread the word. We're making stuff happen.
Yeah, make the magic happen.
I
What-
like, because it's atmospheric, I like translating and like editing cooking sounds.
Oh, okay.
It's just nice. Food's just good.
Mhm.
That's the polite one I'm gonna go with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can follow my Twitter and look at some of my like what I translate on a daily basis, and yeah, I won't say any of those. But you know they are fun. The more inappropriate sounds are very fun to translate. I do this thing where whenever I translate a sound, I sound it out in Japanese and then eventually sound it out into English. So I'll sound like a nutso in here, like you know, like like I'll like what does a helicopter sound like? Like you know, like I'll just make out sounds. But I think my favorite sounds are the easy ones because like those are like the ones that always appear in manga. So the do, go, like all those, and usually sound effects are usually like kind of like derived from those, and there are not many deviations of them. Although I did have one manga where I had to translate 2 separate sets of crickets, and that was fun because there's like you know there's G G G G, and there's like other crickets. There's other what do you call those, cicadas?
Cicadas?
Yeah, and stuff like that. So there was all sorts of stuff like that. That's kind of interesting, but you know, it all depends.
I love that. Okay. Actually, David, I think you might have half answered this in one of your comments earlier when you were bringing up City Hunter, but
Oh God.
people the chat would like to know, is there a non-licensed work that you would love to translate or localize into English / what is your localization wish list?
Well, yes. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You can go first, Jenny.
Oh gosh. I am all about Cheerful Amnesia right now. It's a Yuri manga. I think the like first page of it initially was a Twitter comic that went viral. It's about a woman whose girlfriend gets into an accident and loses all her memories of their relationship, and she's like, oh God, she's not gonna remember me. Like she's gonna be creeped out. Like what am I gonna do? And the girlfriend wakes up and is just super flustered, and she's like, oh my goodness, who are you? Hello, you're in my hospital room. What's happening? And she's like, oh,
It's really
she's
cute.
still super into me. And that is the pitch, and that's what I want to translate. Somebody, please.
So cute.
That's very cute. I would say like my top tier right now is this manga called Go Hobi Gohan. And the premise is office lady treats herself to good food. And if like it's a
favorite
mood,
genre.
like I would like to edit on it. Though I do have a good shrimp heaven now joke that I could work into the first chapter for sure.
Oh yeah.
But I would love to see it come out in English. The likelihood of it is I'm probably the only person reading it, but you know what? I would buy it. I would buy enough to keep it going. It's
I'd
just
buy it.
yeah, I'm very into that genre of like
Food
young 20-something Japanese woman enjoys food. Like
Kumi Yoshinaga's
that
not love
genre.
but delicious foods make me so happy.
yeah, like I'm also into that genre of like, oh, you know what? I'm also gonna throw out Kaiju because like I really want Kaiju in English. It's
not in English?
Finnish.
Oh,
It's
that'd be
not.
great.
We have the anime only, and I would love to be the editor on that. It's completed 18 volumes. It is I believe it's Sunday Jump title. So like Shueisha, where are we at? Come on.
Oh, is it a Shueisha title?
I believe it's a Shueisha title. And like I just really want it because like Keijo is where it's at. Where it's at. Love it.
Oh, sorry. I gotta also say Oshibudo. If my Oshi went to the Budokan, I would die. I really want to do that. It's also Yuri. And there's a book about ADHD that I also would love to do if I can focus on it long enough.
I feel like there's a manga about ADHD. I'm sorry, you said ADHD. There's a manga coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, 7C's just
like
announced
something along those lines. So I should probably like bug them and be like, hey, if you like that,
yeah,
this one.
I make my wish list very vocal. It's like it starts with Yu-Gi-Oh, which is already out, by the way. Like it's been finished, but I want
It's been long enough. We can do it.
They also
revisit
have
that.
a different edition that has never come out in English, and it's like the
nice
definitive edition, kind of.
If Full Metal Alchemist got those like the Steelbook edition, do it to Yu-Gi-Oh.
I wanted to. I would really love, because that was like the whole reason why I even became a translator, is because of that series. So I would love for it to like be re-released or something like that. But the thing is, like, the window's already kind of passed, because they already released like a 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 or whatever. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want to do that again.
We can dream.
Saturate the
I can hardcover.
Yeah, I know one thing that'll never come is Kiniko Man. Kiniko Man will never come out in America.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of, it's whatever. I can feel like crap for that, but it's whatever. That'll never come out. Cobra, Space Adventure Cobra, that'll never come out. City Hunter will never come out.
I'll say.
Hopefully, you're raising flags by saying that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'll say I want Kochikame to come out in English, because when I was teaching, one of my students compared my eyebrows to it. And I just want to see. I just want to see. Is it true?
No.
Is it true? Is it true, little 12th grade boy? Is it true?
But it's a universally beloved character.
Oh my gosh.
That was a compliment.
This child was like, "Do you know Kochikame?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Your eyebrows." I looked it up and I was like,
you know for a fact they wouldn't have said it if you had said yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the child is still dragging me.
But yeah, I would like Coach Kame too. Coach Kame actually got a one-shot like last jump, and it didn't get translated. I'm assuming because no one would know what the hell it was.
Yeah, it's just me and my eyebrows.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But yeah, I
only know because of a jump exhibit I went to a long time ago. But
yeah.
I have also hit a lot of things on my wish list already, so I feel like I can't be greedy. But I immediately blurted out answers, so I am.
I feel like I'm already.
Ends.
I feel like I'm working on things that I enjoy very much right now. But if I were to get the series, it would be like if I were to get like an older. I haven't worked on a single older title since I've gotten to the industry, so I would love to work on like not anything. I don't want to like say like, oh, just put me on anything, but like Hajime no Ippo, I want that too. But that's probably not ever going to come out either. But like all the stuff I want is like probably not very marketable. So it's like, and I don't really read current series nowadays. Although there was one I read, I forget what it was called. It was called it was about a tanuki, about a dude who turns into a tanuki, and he basically helps people solve their problems.
Oh, I love that.
I
love that.
It's a web series. I can't remember what the name of it is, but a friend of mine recommended it to me, and I thought it was hella cute. And I immediately went to a certain CEO of a company that will not be named, and I hit him up on his DMs, and I was just like, "Please help to license, please. I translate," and that was exactly what I said. And he didn't give me any response. So
oh
I'm
my god, that's so funny.
I'll translate.
You gotta shoot your shot sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to take the bull by the horns.
We've got enough time for the last question, the Q&A, which is, what is something that is coming out soon in English? Either something you've worked on or you didn't work on that you are very excited about.
Oh god, I gotta think of how to talk around this.
It can be one that's already announced. We can do early releases. I think that's people are looking for
how to talk around that too.
I keep driving you into corners accidentally, and I'm sorry, Mercedes.
I think I know how to talk vaguely enough without implicating myself. Like I said, I worked on a visual novel. I'm very proud of it. It will come out later this year. Please buy it, because I worked very hard, and it's very good, and it's very colorful, and I really want to do more work with visual novels.
Yay!
There we go.
Yeah.
Jenny?
I think I already plugged Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting about 800 times. I'm genuinely super excited about it, and it just came out in print. I'm also volume 12 of the So I'm a Spider, So What light novels just came out, and volume 13 is coming out in December, and it's almost done. And if you watched the show and you were like, that was pretty good, little confusing maybe, definitely read the novels. They're wonderful. City, the newer series by the author of Nichijou, is coming to an end soon, and so is New Game. Other than that, I feel like I live in a fog and I don't know what is out already and where I am or what year it is. So
happens.
Oh, the Executioner in Her Way of Life.
Oh,
that's getting an anime soon.
Oh, wait, Jenny, that's you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I gotta buy it tonight.
Very fun. It's really
decided.
fun.
Yep.
It's like kind of grimdark Yuri isekai, but with
gotta buy it tonight.
I know even isekai with a twist is played out, but it's a good twist.
Yeah. It's a different kind of isekai with a twist, I would say.
Yeah, you know what's up.
Okay.
I'm super excited about Kaiju number 8. I was super excited about Undead Unluck Volume 1 because that was like the first Jump property thing that I've worked on that I have my name in a book for. What aside from the Tokyo Ghoul art book, which I did. But yeah, Kaiju number 8 is just it's a labor of love, and I want people to have it in their homes and read it and just enjoy it for what it is, because a lot of hardworking people put their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I really want people.
I'm excited about that too.
Well, I'm
the
glad
cover design
it's really good so far. I'm not
when I first saw those when I first saw the cover design, like maybe like a month or so before you guys did, I was like, man, my socks are blown all the way off. They're on the ceiling.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is extremely good stuff, and I cannot thank everyone who worked on that and is still working on it enough. And aside from Kaiju number 8, Undead Unluck, and the other series I'm working on for I'm doing some other stuff I can't really talk about, but when that comes out, I'm on something very big-ish, and that should come out, and I hope I can share that with you guys soon. And I'm working with some stuff with Seven Seas under their Ghost Ship, which is basically all their spicy stuff.
Yeah.
They're both announced, so I think I can talk about them. One's called the Witches of Adamus, and the other one is called Survival with My Mistress in Another World, or something like that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So I'm working on both of those. And I've got some other stuff too, but I can't remember if I can talk about that stuff either.
No worries.
I did just realize, if you wanted to buy something that does have my name in it, if you've been holding off on reading Another World Zombie Apocalypse is Not My Problem, you can pick up volume 1 and then you can pick up volume 2 where your girl edited. It's very funny. There's a lot of jokes about spit, but it's very funny. I like it a lot. I think it's a very silly story, but it's very good.
Well, we can't thank you all enough for coming and doing this super insightful, awesome look into manga translation for your time. If you want to each go ahead, I know we did introductions, but for anyone who may have come late, go ahead and sign off and tell people where they can find you.
First of all, thank you. This was really fun. Thank you all for having us. I'm Jenny McKeon. I'm on Twitter and most platforms as @JLMKArt. You're welcome to shoot me questions. I will do my best to, answer. And I'm always down to chat about manga when I'm not working on it, which is most of the time. I also do some streaming if you're into that.
What's your stream?
I'm a VTuber.
That's right. That's right.
It's not hard to find if you would like.
It's one of the best VTubers.
No,
I quite enjoy.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty good. I guess Mercedes, you wanted to go next?
Yeah, so I guess thank you so much, Olive, and I guess thanks to Kate, who
Yeah,
is present in this world.
wherever you are.
Always
You are.
working.
Yeah, near, far, it's like the Titanic.
A
Yeah,
disaster.
wait.
That's not. She will stay afloat and not hit an iceberg.
There's
Well,
room for all of us
Well,
on the floating Doros.
it was a nice sentiment, wasn't it? But you can also find me pretty much everywhere online at Pixelated Lenses. I'm on Twitter pretty much daily,
Mhm.
either talking about work, my food. I try to keep it real with how work goes and, good days, bad days, whatnot. You can also pop into my DMs. I like talking to people. And while I'm still learning and have not a lot of experience, I'm always willing to help someone as best I can. And yeah, this was really fun, Olive. I had so much fun with all of you all too. Thank you, David, and thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, first I want to thank Olive and Kate and everyone who was here, and you guys have been super inviting and very, very helpful and very friendly. So I appreciate you guys bringing me on. Just some schlubby dude from Jersey. But thank you very much. My name is David Evelyn. You may know me as that guy that you see on the borders of Kaiju number 8 and Undead Unluck. Translator. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't know why you do that. It's so crazy there. But it's at Shin Hiroko, ShinHoroko, and I post all sorts of random tidbits, maybe about the series that I'm on or about translation in general. Sometimes I'm just tweeting in Japanese about bitching about my job, which happens sometimes. But yeah, if you guys are interested, give me a follow over there, and we can, keep your questions to a minimum. Just a little bit.
I do just want to say, in case anyone's worried, I did see Titanic. I just forgot how it went.
We're all in denial.
Don't worry about it. It
I'm
happened.
so sorry.
No. The Celine Dion music played. It was fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, thank you all so much. Once again, for those, check out more Let's Talks in the future with But Why Though, and check out all of the content reviews, manga reviews, anime reviews, and more at But Why Though. Oh, it looks like we lost Jenny. The Wi-Fi went down. So if anyone's wondering, that's what happened. Oh no. But luckily we got to hear her sign off. But yeah, go to But Why Though PC at Twitter to follow more. And I guess I'm Olive. I go by Olive the Manga Reader. Yes, it's a pun on all of the other reindeer. You can find me at all of the manga, where I mostly post reviews and thirst. So Jenny wants us to thank the viewers for tuning in, and we thank her. So thank you all so much. Have a good one.
Take it easy, guys.